we're back, and we're gonna a final point of discussion is going to be about policies, procedures. We've covered the digital environment, we've covered the built environment. We want to talk with Yahya a little bit about and the rest of our panel about some of the HR processes, some of the policies that an organization would want to adopt or tweak to facilitate the employment of people with disabilities. Yahya, you did mention that you have a lot of support in your organization from your HR and your leadership team and so on. Could you just give us maybe a few examples to talk a little bit more about some of the policies, procedures that have had to be tweaked, changed, or introduced to ensure that you have the chance to operate at full capacity and reach your full potential where you work?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really about understanding the type of disability that you're working with, and understanding each disability and have a different requirements. So, for example, I work in the training department, so I might have, my training, for example, let's say at 10 o'clock. Why do I need to be at the office, I don't know, at 7, if it's, for example, so understanding that I can work from different locations. Sometimes I'm preparing the material for training, so I don't have to be physically at the office because I'm doing preparing, so I can just do that from home or from somewhere nearby or from somewhere near the venue or whatever it is happen to be. I think in a simple term, I would say if we're looking at employment of people with disability, to make it really easy or to make it understood at least in a more common lens, think of it as that what kind of inclusive practice you have within as an HR department that could attract people with disability. So, for example, talk about returning mothers who goes on maternity leave for a number of years, they want to come back, they have certain requirements, right? You're talking about people ex-military that coming back, into the corporate world, or people, for example, who travel these days. A lot of people travel, they go for like a 2 years travel and they want to come back to the workforce. So they also have some type of requirements and integration level. So if you think about disability as just one category of these things, then I think we will feel more at ease dealing with employment people with disability rather than thinking of it, because at the moment it's seen as like a big elephant, and that big elephants need to be looked
made a bit smaller. made a bit smaller.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Yahya. This is actually very important. You mentioned earlier about the support that is needed from the top of organizations, from the leadership teams to try and improve these things. Can you tell us a little bit more, Sheikh, about maybe some of the support that some of the leadership of these companies should be able to demonstrate to empower their HR departments to conduct these changes? Because sometimes they do need that empowerment, because it's not very usual yet in the UAE.
Well said. Actually, like how they have the HSC, most of the oil and gas, all the governmental industries, they say HSC is number one. And then comes the operations and the production and other aspects of the business. What we would like to propose or say here is the senior management should consider this as one of the topmost agenda within the HSC. Currently, we aren't seeing enough visibility on accessibility, and this is one of an excellent initiative that the Dubai government has.
It's actually quite accurate, because a lot of times when there is a problem with accessibility, not necessarily maybe with somebody being employed who has a disability, but maybe a visitor who's coming to the office and you have an accessibility challenge that is not successfully negotiated, you end up with an incident or an accident. Somebody slips, somebody trips, somebody slips down the steps. Maybe they didn't have the proper nosings on the step. Maybe the steps were uneven. So these are things which we also typically look at from an accessibility perspective. And if leadership support is absent, then these things aren't going to happen in any consistent way. It's always going to be a firefighting type approach, where if there's an accident, we sort that out and then we forget about all the rest, and tomorrow we're just as likely to have another accident somewhere else within the business. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Again, Mike, thank you. Kayo, Sheikh, and Yahya, thank you very much for your time. We hope we've had a chance to give you a bit more, raise your awareness a little bit more about some of the typical challenges that are faced within the inclusive employment sphere. And but really, not just highlighting challenges, but also showcasing some success stories that there are people with disabilities who are perfectly capable of doing very productive, value additive jobs that can be done and that can be supported within the organization. Thank you again for our panel.
Thank you.
And we will see you again soon. Thank you.